What's up, friends? I'm back with another LTD2 video series. I was trying to think of something fun to do for Halloween and thought, hey, let's just play some classics and do Forsaken. And then it came to me, why not just do that in ranked? For those of you that don't know, Legion has, well, legions. 8 of them, actually. Each with their own unique set of 6 units. Nowadays, you can only play these in classics, AI, and campaign, but you used to be able to play it in ranked. You may be asking, if you can't play them in ranked anymore, how are you going to do it? Well, friends, I'll tell you. Redraw. I can reroll any number of times and use it to hopefully get units from whatever legion I'm attempting. This will definitely not be easy, as redraw can be a fickle mistress and I may end up spending way too much money and not even get a unit that I can play. I plan to do this with all 8 legions, some of which will be way easier than others. With the explanation out of the way, let's get into today's video. How I won playing Forsaken units only in ranked. Much like my last challenge, I wanted to do this with friends that are used to my shenanigans and aren't the most worried about losing elo. Today, I had guitar cheese. And I'll say this right now, Forsaken is kind of cheating. Why is it cheating? Well, as you all know by now that I am the best bones only player in the world and have won multiple games with just that unit. Okay, but let's get into the game. I got kind of lucky and got both the Bone Warrior and the Gate Guard without having to reroll. The attempt before this, I actually did open with the Gate Guard, and I wanted to change up a bit for this game. So I went with old reliable Bone Crusher, something I'm very familiar with and have a very high win percentage of. I get a king up into me and push to 5 workers, while I set to Snail because it's just what I do now. I'm not a profile checker or anything, I just think it's fun and it might ruin a Fiesta player's game a little bit. I end up catching him and causing a bit of a leak. I also noticed that the person sending into me has opened with an Antler. This is a very low worker opener, which puts very low pressure on me. I don't recommend opening with the Antler if you can, as it is more of a support unit and can't carry the waves on its own, as well as something like a Priestess of the Abyss, Berserker, or Gatling gun that have a similar cost. Okay, but since I got the leak on my guy, I got some extra gold and decided to push to 6 workers. With the Bone Crusher, you can always hold a Snail Resend with just 2 Bone Warriors. The amount of gold that I got from the enemy leaking actually gave me enough for that 6th worker and 2 Bone Warriors. Now, all I have to do is position them correctly, and I'll just full hold. I have a set place I like to put my Bone Warrior on the split because when I turn it into a Fire Archer, it tanks really well. Though, I couldn't remember if this positioning held a Snail Resend, but I figured it'd be fine as there's no way the Antler player would ever snail me after income. Okay, so yeah, it leaks a bit. In case you were wondering, if you just put it like this, 1 Bone Warrior a full square back instead of half back like I have it, and a 2nd bone almost anywhere, it will hold. Wave 3, and I upgrade 1 Bone Warrior to a Fire Archer and add another bone on the split to make more of the wave come to the right. I'm 60 undervalue and get a double Snail Resend. Let's see how well this goes. If I get another big leak, I'll be in real trouble. Thankfully, it tanked and killed just enough that the Crusher was able to clean up the rest of the wave. Wave 4, and I add a Gate Guard and push to 7 workers. I probably could have gone to 8 and just upgraded another Fire Archer, but I wanted to get the Gate Guard out now. It's a very strong unit on 5, 6, and 7, and if they keep sending me, I can probably get away with some greedy worker push, and if they start starving me, I can upgrade it into a Harbinger, and probably hold whatever their send is. I hold the double Snail Resend and decide to push to 9 worker. I also wanted to drop at least 1 Gate Guard now because I am playing Forsaken units only, and I can't do that with just Bone Warriors and Gate Guards, so eventually I have to reroll, and I might not get it back. Wave 5, and the boss is already going left, but I added a Bone Warrior above my Crusher to force the entire wave to go left. Normally, I'd like to have the Fire Archer on the right side split tank a little bit here, but it's most of my damage, and I didn't want it to die. They finally decide to stop feeding me and do a King Up instead of a full send, or saving the rest of their Mythium. Remember, if you send a Snail on income, you get 6 gold for future waves, but I also get that 6 gold from killing the Snail. Sending a 2nd Snail after income will just give me more gold. If you do a King Up with the extra 20 Mythium instead of the Snail, you still get the 6 income while I don't get the extra gold from killing another Snail. Wave 6, and I only pushed 1 worker off their send last wave and decided to get the Harbinger upgraded. I felt it was a bit of a long wave, and I was looking a little weak here to a full resend. And if they do full send me here, and I hold, I am free to push a lot of workers, and probably still hold that wave 7. They do full resend, and with the power of the Harbinger, I just full hold. I pushed to 13 workers, and did my first redraw, and found a Lord of Death. Wave 7, and I just upgraded a Bone Crusher on the split for some stall to help the Harbinger get us some extra spawns, just in case. Odds are they skip here and try a big wave 8 send, since I am mostly impact and it is a swift wave. I had to make sure that I had enough money to add the Lord of Death to have a chance at holding. Although they do resend me here, I decide to hold off pushing workers. This challenge and redraw have made me actually think about my decisions. If I put down the Lord of Death now, I can reroll without having to worry if I get the Lord of Death back for wave 11 or 15 when I really might need it. I know I will have to reroll because my current rolls only Forsaken unit is that Lord of Death, and I can't just spam those. I am looking very weak for wave 10, and might not even push that much if they resend on 9. You may be asking why I put it here. Well, Forsaken doesn't have the best tank value, but lifesteal can somewhat offset that. Not only will the Lord of Death get the lifesteal, but the dragons will too. And you'll see later why this is actually important. I decided to reroll for something for wave 10, and luckily got the Nightmare after only a couple of rerolls. Because I have the Nightmare already, I do push a bit of workers to the reset. Wave 9, and I decide to add no units and full shift the rest of my gold. I want to make them think that I pushed hard and bait them to full send me on wave 10. I have enough good value here with a Harbinger, Laud, and Crushers to hold, and can just add a full Doppelganger on wave 10. Also, the Fire Archer split is doing exactly what I want it to do. After it dies, some of the wave actually comes onto the dragons from the Lord of the Death, and when it does have lifesteal or is a Hades, it should be strong enough to tank that split for a long time, giving my Doppel and Harbinger more time to cook. Wave 10, and I decided to no push and still go with the Doppel. One of the enemies leaked, making it a longer wave, and I do look very weak here, so a full resend is a likely possibility. Unfortunately, they decided to skip. I might be in some danger here. Wave 11, and the smart play would be to go for Sacrifice to get some extra gold and have the ability to sell a unit later for full price for a better one for the wave. Although I had the money for the Hades and figured that would be enough. Besides, I love Giant Snail, especially if you aren't sure when they're sending. The longer they skip, the more likely it is that they will just leak to 8 Giant Snails each wave, and I just gain value. They do skip wave 11, and now I'm really starting to worry. I tried to reroll and only got a Bem Warrior. I put one down and turned it into a Dank Mage to help my Doppel really do some insane damage. And then it happened. I rerolled one more time and got the Butcher. I already have the Hades, Harbinger, and Doppelganger set up for it, and oh boy, is this what I needed. Not only that, but it gave me a Nightmare as well, with just enough gold left over to build it. The send does come here, and it's a pretty big one. The one thing I don't understand is they saw I had Hades, yet still picked Giant Snail. Hades gets more mana from each unit dying, and even more mana if the dragons or Hades kills it themselves. Basically, Giant Snails counter themselves with something like a Hades. But check it out, this is what I was talking about earlier. The Fire Archer brings a lot of the units into the lifesteal Hades. I have enough dragons, and they do just enough damage to tank the entire split, giving my Doppel much needed time to kill the other half of the wave. I end up just full holding, and even covering a lot of my allies' leak. It's pretty much game over at this point. After that wave 12, I pushed quite a bit of workers to prepare for our next send. I just upgraded my Butcher into a head chef and left the rest as is. Wave 13 is a bit too strong for my Hades split tank to work properly, but it doesn't matter as they aren't sending here. I also resent Giant Snails because I knew my guy was a bit weak here on 13, and I thought I could get a sizable leak on him, which I do manage to do. Wave 14, and I decided to full reset. The wave was a bit long because of the leak that I caused, and I had plenty of workers in Mythium. Guitar joins me with a full send of his own as they are both showing a lot of magic damage in natural tanks, and wave 14 is an arcane wave. I also keep my split as it is because Hades, while not doing the most damage here, is unironically my best arcane tank, and I'll need a repeat of that wave 12 if they send here. I upgraded Doppel and another Nightmare because what else do I have for here? I dropped a Butcher to give both Doppels double lifesteal, as the Butcher and Head Chef's passive stack together. The send does come, and it's pretty much the exact same as wave 12, with an added Brute, so I was feeling pretty confident my Hades would smurf again. The Hades ends up dying, but I do end up full holding and full covering my allies' leak, while they aren't so fortunate. Their king drops down to 17%, and now we just need one more send to take the victory. Well, I say that, but I was feeling a little confident that I could leak my guy any wave, even if I resend here, and my plan was to leak him again and then go with Guitar for our game-winning send. After all, I did have over 40 workers, and some extra income wouldn't hurt when I had to inevitably cover my ally again. I drop another Lord of Death on 15, then start to reroll. 3 Doppels and 2 Hades is plenty enough damage, and now all I need is to find something to tank for them. I get my guy again, and now it's time to plan for our next send. Guitar calls for an 18, and I agree. Meanwhile, I was trying to find some sort of tank, but it just kept giving me more Lord of Deaths and Doppels, so I said the hell with it and built another full Doppelganger on wave 16. As the wave goes on, I ask Guitar if he can hold wave 17. I have very little fortified tanks, and Butchers aren't the best. He says no, and we take the safe play to just send here. Just like wave 14, they have a lot of magic damage, and it's another arcane wave. Luckily for me, I do find gate cards with just one more reroll, and I drop them down and upgrade them into Harbingers. I think I have enough stall for them all to get out of second spawn, and figured it was worth it to upgrade them. Wave 17 starts, and everybody sends. He finally decides not to send Giant Snails to feed my Hades, and I eventually do leak a little bit. It's definitely a good thing we decided to send here, as this could have been their way back into the game. Everybody leaks, but theirs is lethal, and we end up winning the game. I actually did win 3 games in a row with Forsaken, but decided to show this one because it was the one that I carried the hardest. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll have videos doing the rest of the preset legions with Redraw and Ranked. See you next time!